Transphobia, body-shaming women, attacking small TF2 YouTubers and using slurs.
When the name Zesty Jesus is brought up amongst my many Team Fortress 2 YouTuber friends, a sigh of disappointment is generally the standard response. But why is that? Why do so many people have a strong distaste towards Zesty Jesus? Well, let's take a look. Team Fortress 2 is a game of which many creators come and go, some for good reasons and some for bad. But every now and then again, there's a creator who sticks out for doing something absolutely horrible. And in this case, we'll be criticizing and taking a dive into the controversy around Zesty Jesus. Zesty Jesus is a Team Fortress 2 content creator who blew up in 2020. He has around 67,000 subscribers and creates great well-edited content which consists of rants and weapon analysis videos. Mind you, some of his rants have extreme misinformation, going lengths to starting witch hunts and dividing communities by non-existent problems. Some of my favorite videos of his are his videos on the worst and best items in TF2. The editing is immaculate and it's clear as a passion for his creations. But I think one of the most important things about criticizing someone on the internet is separating the creator from the creation. And although he's posted some extremely problematic content, in this video we'll be focusing on Zesty as a creator and how he has dug himself an extremely deep hole for himself by openly fat-shaming women, attacking smaller creators due to them beating Zesty in TF2, as well as using racist and transphobic slurs several times. Quick disclaimer, any comments seen attacking Zesty's appearance, mentioning threats, or general just hateful messages, I'll delete them from the comment section. Feel free to criticize him, but do not be toxic. Now, before we get into this and anyone claims I have some sort of negative bias towards Zesty, I actually used to be a huge fan of Zesty. I talked to him briefly in DM and shared messages of support multiple times with him. But the more I see Zesty and the deeper I look into him, the more disgusted I feel by him and his actions, not just as a creator, but as a person on the internet. Now, to start getting to the nitty-gritty here, let's take a look at a TF2 content creator and a friend of mine who has been a victim of Zesty's wrath, JPEG. Now, JPEG is a competitive Team Fortress 2 YouTuber with around 15,000 subscribers. It was a regular day just like any for JPEG. He was playing on ours community server and just having some fun while Zesty and a few other YouTubers were streaming. If you know JPEG, you'll know that he's a bloody good TF2 player. JPEG was dominating everybody on the server, including Zesty, and Zesty, well, he didn't take it very well, and he began having huge tantrums whenever he died, complaining and screaming like a child. He screamed things such as,
"Can we just kick him from the server? Get rid of him! I can't have fucking fun!"
Kind of already.
We just went nuclear overhead.
He's not even playing the fucking game! He's just farming and he's making himself invincible with 25 fucking bottles! Intentional! Play the game! Don't sit there and farm, you mom!
oh, and if you didn't catch that, Zesty called JPEG a mong, which is actually a slur for a mentally disabled person, which in itself is a horrible thing to say to anyone, but let alone another TF2 smaller creator while streaming in front of your audience. Yikes. The harassment of JPEG continued for a while, and during the game that Zesty was being dominated by JPEG, Zesty contacted the owner of the server, R, and asked him to ban JPEG off the entire server. Now, Zesty will most definitely claim that JPEG was targeting him, or harassing him, or stream sniping him, but if you look at the scoreboard, it's quite obvious that JPEG was actually dominating almost the entire enemy team. So this wasn't a situation of JPEG just targeting Zesty, this was a situation of Zesty just being bad and JPEG being good. There's nothing malicious here except for Zesty's comments. JPEG published a video of his experience on his channel, which will be linked in the description below. I do recommend you watch it after this video so you have full context on Zesty, but definitely check it out later. I think the way Zesty dealt with the situation was horrible. In his Discord server, he would foster and encourage hate towards JPEG, and Zesty even took it as far as lying to his fans, saying that JPEG harassed him and acted as though Zesty himself was the victim, when in reality, JPEG was actually the one being verbally abused and banned and witch hunted just because he beat Zesty in a game of Team Fortress 2. Now, if this just ended here, it wouldn't have been as bad as it had become, but following that whole situation, Zesty decided to publicly talk bad regarding a Team Fortress 2 charity, an event called TF Connect, all due to JPEG supporting it. And you know what I find most ironic about this situation? Well, it's the fact that the charity that they were supporting is supporting disabled people and helping them improve their lives so they can play video games. And it's no wonder why Zesty wouldn't support it, especially after he was publicly using slurs, degrading them. What a clown! Now, if you thought that him using slurs on occasion was bad, things got a whole lot worse later in this video. But before we go into that, let's take another dive into Zesty using horrible and degrading language, but this time we're taking a look at Zesty's opinion on overweight girls. Well, Zesty Jesus states, fat girls don't know how to take care of themselves and usually have mental problems. I'm not talking chubby, I'm talking FAT. Fat chicks chicks eat their feelings and don't know how to deal with their own poop, more likely to lash out. Right, thanks Zesty. Instead of just being an arsehole who doesn't support charity because they got dominated in a game, or just an arsehole who attacks smaller YouTubers with slurs. Now Zesty, you're a fat-shaming misogynist. Good job Zesty, you are clearly a great role model for your audience. Huge applaud to you mate. Now, after you would hear those horrible things that Zesty has done, you'd think that he couldn't possibly become a worse human. Well, once again, you're wrong. Apparently to put the cherry on the cake, Zesty has found comfort using racial and transphobic slurs. Now to clarify with the racist slurs that were actually said back in 2017, but judging by Zesty's track record, I really wouldn't be surprised if this was still in his vocabulary. This is just so irresponsible to do, and there's no way of justifying it. To make the situation even worse, he was using these slurs as an insult, as he was using them against people who aren't even trans themselves. How low can you really go to be doing all these things? And you may be asking yourself, how can it be that this has gone on for so long without anyone speaking up and attempting some sort of public justice? And this is a thing that many people have tried multiple times, but unfortunately everyone speaking up against Zesty has been abused, harassed, or completely ignored. And Zesty says it himself, anyone trying to call him out is only doing it for views. Totally innocent Zesty, totally innocent. Recently, Zesty has actually been getting called out by several people who he has offended and hurt over the past year or so, and his Twitter account even got suspended over a period of time. The commotion rocked the Team Fortress 2 community ocean, and Zesty was forced into making a response. Now you might think he might actually gather his wits and attempt to fix and take accountability for his horrible actions. However, he responded in the absolute worst way possible. I mean, this is like the textbook example of how not to respond to criticism online. Zesty decided to make a tweet calling the person who reported him for using slurs a moron, and telling people to quote unquote seek mental health if they think he's transphobic and racist. It really does appear that Zesty wants to die on this hill. I mean, Zesty stands here and say this is all a joke all they want, but really, where is the joke in using degrading slurs which target a minority? Seriously man, where is the joke? I don't see the single funny in that at all. Now, as someone who used to be a fan of Zesty, heck, he wasn't even an inspiration for me. Now, I just feel disgusted by him. Not including all the bots, cheaters, and obvious bad people, his actions have to be some of the worst I've seen any Team Fortress 2 YouTuber do this year. And so far, judging by these things, he's definitely heading on the path of being the worst TF2 YouTuber. And Zesty, I know you're watching this man, please take accountability for your actions. It's not too late man, you can still fix this man. You just really need to apologize and try to make some amends with the people who you hurt. Bye guys.